This is a call for all of us to start talking truth to power and standing up about who we are in front of the enemies of us and saying this is fundamentally wrong. As someone called St. George did many, many years ago. This is why we're talking about it, St. George's Day, 23rd of April. I'm an Englishman. And I'm talking about it because it means a lot. Most people don't know about it. People think they do. They always go, he was from Turkey. Turkey didn't exist back then. This is how you realise who the idiots are, all right? He never came to England either. Doesn't matter. And a lot of people have St. George as their patron saint. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's cover who St. George was. Why I'm talking about it, I was just in my local town, hence why I'm in the car. Didn't see one English flag up at all today, not one. I saw there's a pub that has the flag of the Union up, of course. There's a pub up there, good pub has flag of the Union, but there's no one that has English flag. It's probably my fault as well. I should have contacted the council. I would like to see a celebration. I didn't do it because I thought, because I live in the countryside, that this would happen. I didn't realise that we're living in a country with exceptional weak men. And there's a few of us out here who I consider to be strong, and most of you hopefully are watching this channel. St. George then is a patron saint for many countries, many Christian nations. He was a Christian man that refused to renounce his faith. I'm not going into detail here. There was an Emperor Diocletian, here I go, I'm not going into detail, back in the 200 ADs, he was a pagan, and they all worshipped pagan gods back in Roman times. Basically, people had heard about baby Jesus, and they decided they were Christians. St. George was one of them. He's like I think he was army. I think they said he was an officer, but the ranks were, officer in the Roman Eastern army. He decided not to. When they had a big clear out of Christianity through the ranks, he decided not to renounce his faith. Would have been very easy to go, yeah, okay, I'll go for pagan gods again, you know. He went, no, man of his word, I'm not doing it. I'm saying a Christian. And he was tortured and killed for that. When eventually the Crusades went through that area, people heard about that. And they said, well, we want that to be a patron saint then. And it was a patron saint. I think about 1400s we made him a patron saint in the UK. Now, this is important because he was born in that area in the Eastern Roman Empire, the area that was Turkey now, or would become Turkey, but it wasn't at the time. I think his mother was from Syria, Palestine, what was Palestine now, but it wasn't at the time. And so people kind of always say, but he never visited the country, and he was from Turkey. Couldn't care less, mate. It's not about where he came from, the fact he never came here. So he's patron saint in many other countries as well, because people recognise the fact that this was a martyr for the Christian faith. So Georgia, very proud people, good people in Georgia. Their flag is the same as our flag, but they've added 4 extra red crosses for it. That's how much they revere St. George. Obviously, there's a story of the dragon rescuing the princess, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fine. We've all done that, and you know what I mean? Ethiopia, a very Christian nation, has him as a patron saint. Lithuania, Portugal, Catalonia in northern Spain, parts of southern Germany, very, very, they revere St. George very highly. So wherever there's Christians, you'd have probably heard of St. George. The man's a martyr, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you get the weakness. That permeates through all sorts of elements of society, and they will turn around and go, well, he's from Turkey, never came to the UK, couldn't care less. This is how I identify weak people, all right? Because we should be saying, I'm grateful that there was a man there who died for something he believed in. Now, you've got to work out what you believe in. I've worked out what I believe in. I believe that we live in a great country and we're very lucky, and when people criticise me, they do it in my language. Overseas, they talk English. England's crap, I hate England. In English. In English. Look how small Great Britain was, yeah? Britannia back in those days, and how much of the world it took over. Back in the 1920s, 25% of the globe was British, and 25% of the globe was speaking English from this little nation. You know what I mean? No one else has done that. No one else has done that. And that they throw all these spears. It's globalists wanting to break up our national identity. It's up to you to not let that happen. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing about what you're doing, and I'm pointing my finger now because I don't do this and you do this. On social media, this is me. I'm Tim Davies. I was a pilot in the Air Force for 20 years. A lot of people don't like me very much because I say things like they are. And I think we should say what's happening with this country is wrong. There's a lot of weak people out there, some people I served with as well, who won't speak to me again because they call me a racist, a fascist, a far-right thug, whatever it is. A lot of people do speak to me still. Those are good people and they understand where I'm coming from, right? What were they fighting for? I have no idea. The people that don't speak to me now, like, what did you think you were fighting for when you were in the military? Do you think you were fighting for this? The breakup of our country and the division of bringing all these immigrants in and stuff, and what's going to happen to our women if we allow this to happen? So, look, I'm not here to stoke division, but the way we do it. See, the thing about Christianity, the reason we're losing Christianity right now, guys, is there's a vacuum. And in any kind of vacuum, like in Iraq, back in, 2007 was out there, when Paul Bremner, as I said before, took the weapons off the police and the military. What happened? ISIS came in and filled that vacuum. What's happening to Christianity in the UK is Islam's coming in and filling the vacuum. 4 million Muslims, 7% of the population, more probably coming in than we realise. Is it the Muslims' fault or is it the Christians' fault? You and I both know the answer. It's the Christians' fault, because you won't publicly state that you're a Christian man full of Christian values and you want to uphold these. And because you're embarrassed about it, because you're small on the inside, you don't know what it means to be a man. A man stands by his word. Go and do the investigation. I'm not insulting you guys. Hey, hit the comments. Tell me I'm a dick, right? Tell me I'm a dick. Look, is it true? Are you doing that? Because if you're anonymous on social, this is what I'm saying, because you're worried about losing your job or something, I get it. Well, I don't need money. I need money. Seriously, of course I need money. I'm trying to pay like 3 mortgages of small little houses. That's my wife's pension. And I lose jobs over this shit. I lose jobs over it. All right, so I work by myself now in a business. I still got to get people to come in. People still leave. They get angry at me. Tim, you're a dick, and they leave. Okay, I'm not getting paid this week. We're going to eat pasta or some shit like that. It's not easy for me. I'm in a here. I'm in a 12-year-old car with 130,000 miles on it. I had an Audi. It just I think a fuel injection. We're struggling financially, right? And I'm telling you right now, we are. Of course we are. Everyone is. I know it's a difficult time, but I'm still telling you the truth. I'm still putting myself out there and risking my reputation for what I believe in. And I believe we're a Christian nation. And we are Christian men. And it takes strength to stop the destruction of this country. And you might be part of the problem, mate. And I'll tell you why you might be part of the problem. Because you're afraid to put that out on the social media there or something under your own name. You're hiding Dinosaur Boy 44, whatever it is. I think Keir Starmer's a twat. I do too. I write it in clear. I'm telling you now. I think Keir Starmer's a twat. Fine. Why don't you just speak up under your own name? Just be your own self. Look, unless we stand as Englishmen together, this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you now. You're going to get an Islamic politician into your council, and they're going to start making changes, and you're going to whinge like a fucking schoolgirl because you didn't stand up when you had the chance of doing so. That's all it is. Your wife's going to turn around and go, isn't it bad? You're going to go, yeah, it's really bad, mate. It's really, really bad. Yeah, really bad. But what could you have done about it? You could have made a stand. We haven't got to be dicks about it. We just have to reveal ourselves and go, look, I'm an Englishman and I'm standing for something. You've got one chance in your life to do this, and then we die. Look at me, 20 years maybe if I'm lucky, and I'll be dead. Maybe 25, So what am I just going to drift through watching the destruction of this nation? No, I'm doing something about it. Look, I'm not a political guy. I'm not interested in Reform, Conservatives, Homeland. No, what's that? Patriotic, rebrand it? No, I'm not interested in that. Labour, no, I'm not interested in it. It's not about politics. Is not going to save it. It's never saved us before. What's saving you is community. It's saving you is yourself. Right? No one's coming to save us. This is England. This is the greatest battle you ever wanted. If they could have said, what battle would you want? You're an Englishman. Yeah, I'm an Englishman. As you're coming up through your 20s, when you hit your mid-30s, 40s, whatever it might be, 50s, 60s, if there was a battle, what would that battle look like that you wanted to participate in? What could it be, Tim? What could it be? I don't know. What about a Christian battle against an Islamic invading force? Oh, fuck, I'm up for that one. That's the only battle I've ever wanted. Do you think about it? If you're a Christian man, that is your battle. Extremist, Islamists, basically. That's who we want out of this country. We don't want them in our country.
Ground News have decided to sponsor this video. They are good people, and when they said, can I sponsor you, Tim, I was like, hell to the yes, because I used their product already, and I said, what's going to be a great deal for me is going to be a great deal for you guys as well. 40% off the Vantage plan, top tier plan. Let's head over there now. So what Ground News does, it brings all these news articles in from across the political spectrum. It looks at the biases on them as well. So if I was to scroll to this article here, which is about the UK economy expanding by 0.5% in February, higher than expected, and I clicked on it, we can see straight away that there's 16 news sources that have reported on it. It is a leaning left. Why? Because we've got a left-wing government, haven't we? So maybe the right aren't reporting on it too much. And you can see there's about 6 in the centre. Now, what you can do then, pretty much, 55% centrist, kind of a centrist article, you can then have a read, have a bit of a summary here if you want to, and then you can go and pick your favourite paper down here anywhere you want, and you can click on that link. It then takes you across that paper, and if you can see at the very top, you've also got a taskbar on Chrome that also helps you see what is going on. You have a read of it if you want. There you go. To all kinds of different papers. And you can also look at the factuality of it. How factual are these things that are coming out? And also, who owns those papers, right? So you know when you're being kind of hoodwinked. Ground News is the only way that I get unbiased news. And the offer today is 40% off the Vantage plan. It's a good plan. I use it myself. About £7 a month, guys. Get after it.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm all for Muslims coming in here. and I'm all for not this level of integration, but I don't mind people coming in at small numbers. Look at Jews are 0.5% of the population, Hindus, Sikhs about 0.7, Muslims 7%. You're smoking a crack pipe, mate. Absolutely not. Those numbers should never be allowed in this country. That's not how you're going to integrate. This is why we have enclaves, Islamic enclaves around the UK with Sharia courts and 3,000 mosques. What are you doing? Wrong, fundamentally wrong in every way. Every way. This is a Christian nation. It's not an Islamic nation. It's Christian. It cannot be allowed to be done like this. So you've got to stand up for what you believe in. If you believe in family like I talk about, then you've got to stand up for it. You've got to stand up for it, you know? This is not right that you're allowing this to happen. So what would St. George have done? Well, he spoke out about it under his own name. He said, I'm a Christian man. I'm not renouncing my faith. I'm an Englishman. I'm not going to deviate from that. I'm a Christian Englishman. Look, this is me, Tim Davies, right? You know who I am. You know who I am, right? You know who I am. I'm not hiding behind. I'm a Stevie Boy 44 on Twitter and going, oh, St. George was Turkish. Mate, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And who do you want to be? Who do you want your friends to think you are? Like, who do you want your family to think you are? Someone that's hidden behind their identity? Someone that walks the street like an Antifa with little balaclavas on, like a little schoolgirl. Oh, I don't want my identity to be shown. I'm proud of what I'm saying. And you should be proud of what you're saying too as well. Now, in the comments, you tell me, Tim, this isn't right. I'm 100%. I'm behind you. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? I understand it. We all get different opinions. Tim, I've got a mortgage to pay. Yeah, you don't have to be a dick about what you say, mate. You can just say, I don't think this is right. I'm a bit worried about it. That's fine, but do it under your own name, you know what I mean? If you want to rant like an idiot and you want to start saying you're going to go and, I don't know, do some damage to someone in politics, and what are you doing that for? Why are you saying those things anyway? And why are you doing it under a pseudonym? I pay less attention to anonymous people online. Why? Because what risk have you got? Who are you? You're not risking anything. I'm risking everything. You're risking nothing. Nothing. You're risking nothing. I'm here telling you like my experiences, my truth. You're risking nothing. You can say whatever you want. Your reputation will receive no damage at all. My reputation will. Why would I go into that battle with you? I've got no interest in you, mate. You know, you're a shallow person. You don't even want to put your face out there and your name out there. You don't even respect yourself enough to put your name out there. Now, St. George did. He did. Our Prime Minister won't even put a tweet out with the English flag. Our Deputy Prime Minister won't even put her own message out. She just retweets the Prime Minister's message and adds a bit about nonsense about, yeah, we're so proud. She's not proud at all. At least when Rishi Sunak put a tweet out, and he's a British man, not an Englishman, of course. He can never be English, we know that. He puts a tweet out, fair play to the guy, and he puts a little English flag in there. You know, he tries to do his best, doesn't he? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not easy. But you can do it. Because if you just live your life, a wholesome life, as best you can. You know I talk about it, guys. Fitness, family, finance, and fuel. Just stick with those. You got to do some gym. Hate it. Could be a walk. Hate it. Doesn't matter. You got to be mobile. That's we're going to be in those little. I was in town. I was watching those old people in those little driving around those little buggies. Yeah, some genuinely need to. I'll be crawling on my bloodied hands through the concreted streets of my local town before anyone's putting me in one of those. That's just how I feel about it. I just don't want to be there. I'll keep myself as mobile as I can. And I promise you, I do not want to be in one of those little things. Just because I don't want to be a burden on the state. Some taxpayers got to pay for that. I don't want taxpayer to pay for that. I'll look after my health as best I can. Family. Of course, you're the man around there. You're the family. All men want to do is be respected a little bit, to be felt that they're there. Men just want to know they're there and that they're making some kind of difference. So family is important. If you haven't got family, you are the family. You have to be your own hero. You've got to learn to love yourself. I know it's hard. It's hard to love yourself when you're smoking bloody, whatever it is, smoking marijuana or something at weekends and getting yourself smashed up on 25 lagers. Because I've been there, not with the drugs bit, because I was in the military, but I've been there with the alcohol. And you don't love yourself. You hate yourself. That's why you're doing it, to numb the fact that you hate yourself. You've got to grip that, guys. You've got to get yourself moving a little bit. Eat healthily. Prioritize protein. I do all this stuff. You know, I talk about this stuff. Don't worry about it. Fitness, family, finance. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's not easy. We're not doing well financially at the moment. But the business, you know, I'm growing things. All right. And I'm here talking to you now, saying we've got to be concerned about some stuff. Put my reputation on the line while still trying to grow a small business. All right. Finance is important. We've got to make sure we get some money in. All right. We've got to be able to do that. So you've got to work towards that. Okay. And then fuel, what you're putting in your mind, what you're putting in your body. You know, this channel is sponsored by Ground News. I may have run an advert in the middle of it for a minute that you could have skipped. But look, Ground News, you see the biases on it. That's what Ground News does. And I've got you this 40% off deal that I use, £7 a month. I haven't got to wade through the nonsense from other newspapers. You can see exactly where the biases are from the BBC and the Guardian and Sky News and all that lefty crap. You don't have to deal with it. All right, so think about what you're putting in your body as well. That's the important thing. Fitness, family, finance, and fuel. Your diet, fuel, you know, we talked about it. But look, it doesn't matter because it's your life. All I'm saying is I've decided that I want to be happy with what I'm doing for my country and my people in the country that I believe in. And that is by saying things that I believe are important publicly and suffering the consequences for it, mate. All right? And I think we should be flying St. George's flag everywhere. Everywhere. All right? Everywhere. That's what we should be doing in this country. You've got to fill the vacuum that Christianity has left, else Islam will fill that for you. All right, guys, long video, sorry. Tim Davies, Fast Ship 4.